Captain Elias stared out at the alien horizon, the twin suns casting long shadows across the rocky plains. The air shimmered faintly, as if the planet itself was breathing. His crew had been exploring this world for 3 days, mapping its unusual formations and strange vegetation, but nothing had prepared them for what lay ahead. The planet, dubbed Narian by the Interstellar Exploration Council, was said to be uninhabited, but that belief would soon be challenged. Elias adjusted the controls on his exploration suit and checked the readings on his wrist panel. Gravity was slightly higher than Earth's, but within tolerable limits. Atmospheric composition was breathable for humans, with only minor filtration needed. Sensors picked up strange electromagnetic pulses coming from a valley in the distance. Elias felt a familiar tingle of curiosity, an explorer's instinct that had guided him through countless missions. "Captain, sensors are detecting movement ahead," said Lieutenant Mara, her voice calm but filled with excitement. "It's organic, but nothing in the database matches it. Keep your distance but prepare to make first contact. Stay cautious." His voice carried the weight of responsibility. Any mistake could cost them dearly. As they approached the source of the readings, the terrain shifted dramatically. Towering crystalline structures jutted out of the ground like jagged spires, reflecting sunlight in dazzling patterns. Between these structures, a figure stood, tall and elegant, with skin that seemed to glow faintly from within. Elias' first impression was that the being was humanoid, yet otherworldly in every way. Its eyes were large and luminescent, drawing him in as if they could peer into his very thoughts. The alien raised a hand, not in aggression but as a sign of recognition. Elias felt a strange pull, a mix of fear and fascination. The being's presence was calming, yet powerful. The creature's voice resonated directly in his mind, clear and commanding. "Look into my eyes and tell me the truth." He glanced at his crew, who were equally tense, waiting for his lead. There was a silent understanding among them. Humans had faced the unknown before, and they had survived through courage and honesty. Elias took a deep breath and looked directly into the alien's eyes. He sensed intelligence, curiosity, and something beyond his comprehension. "Yes," he replied, his voice steady, filled with calm certainty. "I tell the truth." The alien's expression softened, and a sense of trust seemed to pass between them. "I am Vera," the being communicated telepathically. "Few have met me without fear. You are different. You face uncertainty with choice, with judgment. Most beings rely on instinct or power. Humans, you choose courage, and that is rare. We explore, we learn, we respect. That is all we seek." Elias felt a shiver run down his spine. "A danger," he repeated. "What kind of danger?" He had encountered threats before, rogue planets, collapsing stars, even hostile alien species, but nothing on a cosmic scale. Yet he sensed that her warning was not an exaggeration. Humans thrived where others failed, and maybe this was one of those moments where humanity's unique qualities would be tested. "Then we must prepare," Elias said firmly. "If this entity threatens life, we have to act. We can't wait for others to respond." Complex patterns of energy, symbols, and structures formed, depicting a celestial map of the surrounding star systems. A glowing mass moved along the map, a swirling storm of energy consuming everything in its path. Elias' heart pounded as he understood the threat's scale. "Many civilizations have encountered this," Vera continued. "None have survived. You human may hold the key. But you will need understanding, courage, and ingenuity beyond what you know. That is exactly what makes us human." "We can," he said, "we must." Unlike humans, who often relied on trial and error, she communicated understanding in pure concepts, bypassing words entirely. Yet, he realized that human creativity would be essential in applying this knowledge to practical solutions. No matter how intelligent other species were, humans had a way of turning theory into action, even under pressure. By the time the twin suns began to set, casting long golden shadows across the valley, Elias and his team had formed a cautious but growing bond with Vera. She had explained fragments of the cosmic threat, enough to create urgency but not enough to reveal all vulnerabilities. That, Elias understood, was a test, one of patience, judgment, and initiative. As they set up camp for the night, Elias stood apart for a moment, gazing at the alien figure silhouetted against the shimmering crystals. He felt something stirring inside him, a mixture of excitement, pride, and anticipation. Humanity had always risen to challenges, no matter how impossible. And now, facing a threat that could consume entire star systems, they would have to rise higher than ever before. Vera's voice echoed in his mind again, soft yet commanding. The choice is yours, human. Will you rise to the occasion or falter like so many before you? And as the stars began to appear in the darkening sky, he felt an unshakable certainty that humans were capable of facing the unknown, no matter how vast or terrifying it might be. Somewhere deep within him, he understood that this was just the beginning. The journey ahead would test every skill, every instinct, and every ounce of courage he and his crew possessed. But for the first time on this alien world, he felt truly alive, not just as an explorer, but as a representative of a species that refused to be ignored. And somewhere, beyond the stars, the universe was already taking notice. The morning light on Narian was sharper than anything Elias had ever seen. The twin suns rose over the jagged crystal formations, scattering prismatic rays across the landscape. Elias adjusted his visor and looked over his crew, who were busy setting up equipment to study the planet's energy fields. Despite the awe-inspiring surroundings, tension lingered in the air. They all knew that the calm beauty could hide great danger. Vera had been silent since sunset, but Elias sensed her presence nearby. Unlike humans, she did not need words to communicate constantly. Her thoughts flowed through the subtle energy that surrounded her. Elias had already learned that patience was key when interacting with her. Rushing or forcing answers only created friction. "Captain," Mara said, crouching near a small crystalline outcrop, "these energy readings are unlike anything in our database. They're almost alive. They respond to our movement, our presence. It's as if the planet itself is observing us. That's our strength." Vera appeared beside him silently, her glowing form contrasting against the translucent crystal. "The energy is conscious in its own way," she said telepathically. "It has memory, but no malice. It will test those who walk here, but it will not harm those who respect it. Many come seeking knowledge or power, and they fail because they do not understand themselves. Humans, you may succeed, but only if you remain true to your choices." Sometimes the crystals would glow brighter, guiding them. Other times they would dim, forcing the explorers to rely on intuition. Each reaction seemed to reflect the humans' confidence, cooperation, and understanding. Mara whispered to Elias as they walked, "I've never felt anything like this. It's like the planet is alive and aware of us. It's testing how we think and work together. Be ready." This was the kind of moment explorers dreamed of, a place where discovery and danger intertwined. Vera guided them to a circular platform in the heart of the convergence. The energy here was intense, and Elias could feel it humming through his suit. The alien's eyes glowed brighter, reflecting the complexity of the environment. "To understand this energy," she said, "you must see patterns, not just numbers. You must feel connections that others ignore. Humans, you may perceive differently." He gestured to Mara and the others, showing them how to move and interact with the energy without triggering defensive reactions from the crystals. Hours passed, and the crew grew more confident. Each small success reinforced their trust in one another and in Vera's guidance. The alien observed quietly, occasionally offering subtle hints through her thoughts. Elias realized that this was more than training, it was preparation. The cosmic threat she had warned about would not respond to force or advanced technology alone. It required insight, creativity, and courage. At midday, the sky darkened unexpectedly. The The twin suns were still visible, but a shadow moved across the valley, distorting the light and chilling the air. The crew tensed. Vera's glow intensified. "It has begun," she said. "The entity approaches. You must demonstrate what you have learned, or the energy here will become unstable." Crystals trembled and ripples of light shot through the valley. The entity, though invisible, made its presence known through the planet's reactions. Elias realized that this force could sense fear and hesitation. It would exploit weakness. The humans had to remain calm, precise, and inventive. "Captain, the patterns are changing too fast," Mara said, her voice tense. "I can't predict the next movement." The alien entity tested them relentlessly, but humans met every challenge with creativity. Hours seemed to pass in minutes. The energy converged toward the center, where Elias realized they had to act. Vera's voice was firm in his mind. "You must focus, human. Guide the energy to balance itself. Only you can stabilize it." He could feel them reacting to his thoughts, his gestures, and his confidence. Slowly, he extended his hands, guiding the energy, nudging it with precise movements learned from observation and intuition. The crew followed, moving in synchrony. The chaos began to calm, and the crystals pulsed rhythmically instead of erratically. Finally, the valley settled. The air shimmered, but no longer violently. The energy, once chaotic, now flowed in beautiful, harmonious patterns. The entity had retreated, sensing that humans were capable of responding to challenges in ways it had not anticipated. Vera stepped forward, her glow serene. "You have succeeded," she said. "You have proven that humans are capable of understanding and influencing forces that others cannot. That is why you may endure where others fail." "This is only the beginning," Vera continued. "The entity will test worlds across the galaxy. Many civilizations are unaware of its presence. You, humans, may hold the key to survival, not only for yourselves but for others who cannot rise to the challenge." Humans were small, fragile, and inexperienced compared to other species, yet their adaptability, courage, and ingenuity had carried them through. For the first time, he realized that humanity's greatest strength was not technology, strength, or numbers. It was their ability to think, to feel, and to act beyond expectation. The crew spent the rest of the day studying the stabilized energy field. They took readings, mapped the patterns, and recorded their observations. Vera shared insights that no database could hold, explaining the connections between the planet, the energy, and the approaching cosmic entity. Every insight reinforced a single idea. Humans were capable of understanding, adapting, and influencing forces that others could not. As the second night fell, Elias sat quietly near the largest crystal. Vera approached, her light dimmer now, as if satisfied with the day's work. "You have shown courage and insight," she said. "But courage alone will not be enough. You will face situations where intuition, empathy, and collaboration will matter more than any weapon or technology. Are you ready for what is coming?" He knew the path ahead would be dangerous, uncertain, and filled with trials. But he also knew something else. Humans had a way of turning challenges into opportunities, of creating solutions where none seemed possible. And this was exactly what the universe needed, a species that refused to be passive, that acted with courage, wisdom, and heart. As they settled into their makeshift camp that night, the valley humming gently with stabilized energy, Elias allowed himself a rare moment of reflection. He thought of the countless generations of humans who had explored, endured, and persevered. From the first steps on Earth's continents to the conquest of space, humanity had always adapted. And now, on a distant alien world, facing a threat that spanned light years, Elias felt certain that the legacy of human courage, ingenuity, and spirit was far from over. Somewhere beyond the crystalline valley, the entity observed silently. It had sensed humans, and for the first time it recognized them not as prey but as something different, something unpredictable, something extraordinary. And that difference, Elias knew, would become humanity's greatest strength. The next morning on Narion, the crystalline valley seemed quieter than before, yet Elias could feel the subtle hum of energy beneath the surface. It was as if the planet itself was holding its breath, waiting for the next test. The crew had grown more confident after their success the previous day, but Elias knew better than to assume victory had made them safe. The universe had a way of testing patience, skill, and character in equal measure. Vera appeared silently beside him, her glow calm but alert. "You have stabilized the energy," she said in thought. "That was only the first challenge. You have shown observation, adaptation, and courage. But now you must demonstrate understanding and collaboration beyond the limits of instinct. The next trial will test not only your abilities but your judgment, your creativity, and your ability to trust one another fully." The energy here was less predictable, pulsing in irregular rhythms and forming patterns that shifted constantly. The challenge was no longer simply moving through the landscape. It required thinking ahead, anticipating reactions, and working together in real time. Elias glanced at Mara. "Stay alert. Watch the patterns and communicate. Every move counts here. Let's do this carefully." To proceed safely, the crew had to coordinate their movements, timing their steps to the rhythm of the energy and predicting how it would react to their presence. Elias studied the beams. "This is a test of coordination, observation, and timing. If we hesitate or panic, we trigger the energy. But if we act together, we can navigate it." Each step had to be precise, each decision communicated instantly. A misstep could send energy cascading unpredictably, forcing them to retreat and start over. Yet Elias noticed something remarkable. Even under pressure, humans could adapt in ways no rigid calculation could predict. When one of the beams shifted unexpectedly, Mara adjusted her path instinctively, signaling Elias to follow a new route. Another crew member, Lieutenant Rowe, identified a pattern in the energy that suggested a hidden path no one else had seen. Together, they moved with coordination, their combined ingenuity keeping them ahead of the energy's unpredictable reactions. Vera observed quietly, occasionally offering subtle guidance through thought. "Impressive," she said. "You see beyond simple cause and effect. You anticipate, adapt, and communicate. Many beings would fail this trial, even when it seems impossible." Finally, they reached the center of the platform. The beams of energy converged into a single, swirling vortex. The air hummed, vibrating through their suits. Elias sensed that this was the climax of the trial, the moment where they had to apply everything they had learned. "The vortex," Vera said. "It will test your insight, creativity, and courage. You must influence its flow, not with force, but with understanding. Only a being capable of observation and adaptation can succeed here. We trust each other, let's move together." When a direct approach failed, Elias suggested a new tactic, using indirect movements to influence the flow rather than confronting it head-on. Mara followed his lead, adjusting her position to guide the energy without triggering instability. Rowe discovered a sequence in the patterns that allowed them to channel the energy safely. The crew worked as one, their actions combining instinct, observation, and innovative thinking. Vera's eyes glowed brightly. "You are demonstrating the qualities I seek: observation, collaboration, creativity, and courage. This is why humans may succeed where others fail." Light and energy converged into harmonious patterns, glowing in perfect symmetry. The platform no longer trembled, and the air vibrated gently instead of violently. The trial was complete. Elias let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. Mara and the others smiled, exhilarated by their success. They had faced an intelligent, unpredictable system, and they had succeeded through ingenuity and teamwork. Vera approached, her presence calm and commanding. "You have proven that humans are capable of understanding complex systems and working together to achieve what others cannot. That is your strength. That is what may allow you to confront the coming threat." "We are ready," he said. We've learned a lot, but we know this is only the beginning. Whatever comes next, we will face it together. You have shown you can understand and adapt, but now you must demonstrate leadership and decision-making in real time. Elias emphasized communication and observation, knowing that these qualities would be critical in the challenges ahead. As night fell, the crystalline valley shimmered under the twin moons. The air was filled with a soft hum from the energy fields, a constant reminder of the intelligence and complexity surrounding them. Elias sat quietly near a large crystal spire, reflecting on the day's events. Humans had always faced challenges, from the earliest survival struggles on Earth to the conquest of space. What made them remarkable was not strength or technology alone. It was creativity, intuition, and the ability to act with courage under pressure. The trials on Narion were unlike anything they had faced before, yet they had proven that these qualities remained their greatest asset. Vera appeared beside him once more. "You have demonstrated insight, courage, and collaboration," she said. "But remember, the trials ahead will test you further. You will face situations where instinct alone is not enough. You will need to think, observe, and adapt simultaneously. That is what will set your species apart. And we are ready to rise to the challenge." He could feel the energy beneath his feet, alive and responsive, yet demanding respect. He thought of his crew, their determination and ingenuity, and felt confident that humanity could meet the challenges ahead. The night passed quietly, with only the soft hum of energy fields and the occasional flicker of light from the crystals. The crew rested, knowing that tomorrow would bring new tests, greater challenges, and opportunities to prove themselves further. As Elias drifted into sleep, he reflected on the day's lessons. Humans were remarkable not because they were the strongest or the most technologically advanced, but because they could adapt, innovate, and face the unknown with courage. That adaptability, that spark of ingenuity, was what had carried them across the stars, and it would carry them through the trials to come. Somewhere beyond the crystalline valley, unseen forces watched. They recognized humans not as mere creatures of instinct, but as beings capable of creativity, courage, and unexpected solutions. That recognition, Elias knew, was the first step toward proving humanity's place among the stars. And as the twin moons rose higher in the alien sky, Elias felt certain that whatever trials awaited them, humans would face them with resilience, intelligence, and an unshakable spirit. For the first time on Narion, he believed that humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning. The dawn on Narion brought an unusual stillness. The crystalline valley glimmered under the twin suns, but there was an undercurrent of tension. Elias stood at the edge of a high crystal ridge, scanning the horizon. The energy fields that had once tested their coordination now pulsed rhythmically, almost as if the planet itself was preparing them for something greater. Vera appeared beside him, her glow calm but intense. "The entity approaches," she said, her voice resonating in thought. "It is vast, powerful, and indiscriminate. Many civilizations would cower, but humans, you may act where others hesitate." "Captain," she said, her voice tight with focus, "the energy is reacting. Whatever is coming, it's close." Elias could feel the raw presence of the cosmic entity before it fully manifested. Its energy radiated like a storm, pulsating with destructive intent. Vera's glow intensified. "It will test you, not through simple attack but through challenge. It senses hesitation, weakness, and fear. You must act with clarity, creativity, and courage simultaneously. Trust your training and trust each other." This was a test of ingenuity, observation, and coordination, a challenge that only humans could meet through unpredictable thought and action. "Crew," Elias commanded, "remember what we practiced. Observe, anticipate, and act. Move as one. Use the energy fields to our advantage. We are not just surviving, we are influencing." The cosmic entity reacted instantly to every human move, shifting, testing, probing, and attempting to create chaos. The humans responded with creativity. When the entity diverted energy toward a destabilized crystal bridge, Elias ordered a counter pattern, timing precise movements to redirect the flow without triggering collapse. Mara improvised a series of steps to balance the energy pulses. Rowe discovered a sequence in the entity's movements, allowing them to anticipate and mitigate destructive reactions. Vera observed silently, occasionally projecting guidance. "Humans," she said, "you are demonstrating the qualities that allow you to survive where others fail. Observation, adaptation, and cooperation are your strengths. Continue." The entity's energy shifted unpredictably, yet humans adapted at every turn. What had begun as a chaotic storm became a dance of precision, intelligence, and instinct. The crystalline valley itself seemed to respond, amplifying human actions while dampening destructive surges. Elias realized that the planet and its energy fields were allies, but only if humans understood and respected their patterns. Suddenly, a surge of raw energy hit the central platform. Elias felt the vibration through his suit, threatening to throw the crew off balance. "Brace yourselves," he shouted. Mara reacted instantly, countering the surge by repositioning to absorb and redirect the energy. Rowe adjusted a series of synchronized movements, creating a temporary stabilization. Elias extended his hands, guiding the energy through a sequence learned in earlier trials. Slowly, the platform steadied. The entity's surge had been deflected without harm, but Elias knew this was only a minor test compared to what might come. Vera's voice was calm but filled with approval. "Well done, humans. You have proven creativity, courage, and precision. Yet the ultimate challenge is ahead, the point at which instinct and knowledge must merge perfectly with innovation." Human ingenuity demanded a new solution. "Listen carefully," he instructed the crew. "We can't fight it head-on. We must guide the energy into channels the entity won't anticipate. Follow my lead and improvise where necessary. Timing is everything." Mara redirected pulses to stabilize fragile areas, while Rowe predicted the entity's adjustments and countered them with synchronized action. Every move required creativity, coordination, and intuition. The entity reacted violently, shifting its energy unpredictably. Crystals trembled, some fracturing under pressure. Yet the humans adapted. Where one path was blocked, another was created. Where the entity anticipated one move, a new approach emerged. Elias realized that unpredictability was their greatest weapon, the one factor the entity could not fully calculate. Hours stretched into what felt like an eternity. Sweat dripped from visors, limbs ached from constant movement, but the humans continued. Slowly, methodically, the energy patterns began to stabilize. The entity, sensing its influence waning, pulsed erratically, then withdrew partially, testing again and again. Each time, the crew adapted more quickly, using insight, observation, and creativity to stay ahead. Finally, the entity shifted away from the central spire, its energy dissipating into patterns the humans could influence. The valley's crystals settled into rhythmic harmony. The cosmic force had retreated for now, but not defeated them. Humans had demonstrated something no other species could: the ability to combine instinct, creativity, and collaboration under extreme pressure to influence an overwhelming force. Vera stepped forward, her glow luminous and serene. "You have succeeded beyond expectation. You have acted where others would have faltered. Your species has demonstrated ingenuity, courage, and insight that few can match. That is why you may endure where others fail." It was proof that human creativity, courage, and cooperation could overcome even the most extraordinary challenges. Mara approached Elias. "Captain, did you feel that? It was incredible. The way we worked together, it's like we became part of the energy itself." "This is only the beginning, but it proves that we can rise to challenges beyond comprehension. Remember this, human, and you may shape the course of events far beyond this world." But the trials on Narion had shown something different. Humans could influence even the most chaotic forces through intuition, collaboration, and creative thinking. That night, Elias sat atop a ridge, watching the twin suns set beyond the crystalline horizon. The valley glowed faintly, a testament to the energy they had stabilized and the trial they had survived. Vera hovered nearby, her glow dimmer now, signaling her approval and trust. "You have learned much," she said, "but the journey is not over. The challenges ahead will demand greater insight, leadership, and the ability to inspire others. You have shown humans can face chaos and emerge victorious, but the universe has yet to test the full measure of your species. Your species is capable of extraordinary feats, and that potential must be nurtured. The trials ahead will show if humanity can rise beyond expectation, shaping events where others fail to act." Humans were adaptable, resourceful, and courageous, and that combination had allowed them to survive challenges that no other species could manage. The cosmic entity had tested them, and they had responded with ingenuity and unity. The stars above shimmered as the twin moons rose in the alien sky. Elias realized that humans were not only survivors, they were creators, innovators, and problem solvers. Every challenge they faced, every trial they endured, strengthened the qualities that made them extraordinary. And somewhere beyond the crystalline valley, the cosmic entity sensed something new. A species capable of unpredictability, insight, and collaboration. It recognized that humans were not like others. They were different. They were remarkable. Elias smiled faintly. He knew that the true test was still ahead, but he also knew something powerful. Humans would rise to the occasion, no matter how overwhelming the challenge. That was their nature, and that was why the universe would take notice. The night on Narian was quiet, but charged with possibility. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, and with them, new opportunities for humans to prove their ingenuity and courage. And Elias, standing among his crew in the glowing valley, felt certain that humanity's greatest adventure was far from over. The morning on Narian was quiet, but the calm felt different this time. The valley shimmered under the twin suns, yet there was an unmistakable tension in the air. Elias stood on the ridge, looking over the crystalline formations, knowing that today would be the ultimate test. The cosmic entity had retreated, but it was far from gone. Its presence loomed, waiting for the humans to face their final challenge. Vera appeared beside him, her glowing form serene yet commanding. "This is the moment of reckoning," she said in thought. "The entity has tested you in many ways: observation, creativity, courage, and collaboration. Now it will confront you directly. Your ingenuity and resolve will determine the outcome. Whatever it brings, we face it together. Every move we make is being observed and countered." Energy pulses radiated outward, shaking the crystal spires and forcing the crew to stabilize their footing. The entity did not speak. It did not need to. Its presence alone communicated power, focus, and relentless intent. Vera's glow intensified. "It will not relent. You must act decisively. Observe, predict, and innovate. Where instinct fails, let creativity guide you. Move with purpose." Waves of energy surged toward them, testing reactions, creating obstacles, and probing for hesitation. Elias realized that brute force was useless. The entity could not be destroyed through strength. Only cleverness, observation, and adaptability would work. "Diversion on my mark," Elias instructed. "Mara, Ro, use the crystal lattice to redirect its energy. I'll guide the central flow." Timing is everything. The entity reacted violently, sending unpredictable surges toward the humans. Crystals fractured, sending shards into the air, but the crew adapted instantly. Where one path collapsed, another opened. Where the entity anticipated a move, a new solution emerged. Their creativity and ingenuity kept them one step ahead. Hours passed in tense synchronization. Sweat dripped from visors, muscles ached, but humans continued. They improvised sequences, predicted reactions, and collaborated seamlessly. The valley itself seemed to respond, amplifying human actions while dampening destructive effects. Elias realized that the energy of the planet was no longer a test, it had become an ally, working with them in harmony. Finally, Elias identified a pattern, a subtle vulnerability in the entity's energy flow. "This is it," he said. "We channel its power into the valley's lattice. It will stabilize the energy and neutralize the threat, but only if we act as one." The cosmic entity surged one final time, a wave of raw power that could have destroyed the valley. But the humans responded perfectly. Every movement, every adjustment, every calculated risk worked in unison. Energy pulses flowed through the crystalline formations, redirecting and balancing the entity's force. A brilliant light filled the valley. The entity pulsed violently, then slowly receded. The chaotic energy stabilized, flowing rhythmically through the crystal spires. The valley shimmered with harmonious light, no longer threatening but vibrant, alive, and calm. Humans had succeeded. Vera stepped forward, her glow radiant with approval. "You have done what no other species could. You faced chaos directly, adapted, and influenced it through ingenuity, courage, and unity. That is the mark of your species. That is why humans may endure where others fail." Humans were not just survivors, they were capable of shaping events, influencing forces that others could only fear. Mara approached him, eyes wide with amazement. "Captain, we did it. We actually did it. The energy, it's stable. The entity is gone." Humans can face the impossible and find solutions others cannot. That is our strength. Use them wisely, and you may shape the fate of worlds. They had done so repeatedly, and now they had turned a deadly threat into an opportunity to demonstrate the qualities that made humanity exceptional. As night fell, the twin moons reflected off the crystalline valley, bathing it in soft light. Elias stood on the highest ridge, gazing at the calm, radiant energy below. The valley had been a trial, a test of skill and spirit, and humans had emerged victorious. Vera appeared beside him, her glow gentle now, almost serene. "You have proven much, Elias, not only to me but to the universe. Humans are capable of adapting, creating, and enduring beyond expectation. You are not merely survivors, you are innovators, problem solvers, and leaders. We've learned that together. Alone, we could not have achieved this. But as humans, we rise when we unite our knowledge, courage, and creativity. That is who we are. Wherever you go, whatever challenges you face, remember this lesson. Your ingenuity and spirit are your greatest strengths." That adaptability, he realized, was humanity's true power. The crew gathered one final time, looking at the stabilized valley below. There was exhaustion in their bodies, but excitement in their minds. They had faced a force that no other species had conquered and had emerged not just alive, but victorious. Their ingenuity, courage, and unity had turned a threat into triumph. Vera's voice resonated in thought, calm and approving. "Remember this, humans. Your species can influence outcomes that others cannot. The universe has tested you, and you have responded with creativity, courage, and wisdom. That is the path forward. Walk it with pride." Humans had proven themselves not through brute strength or advanced technology alone, but through qualities that defined them: ingenuity, collaboration, courage, and the willingness to act when others hesitated. "Humanity has a place in the universe," he said aloud. "We may be small, but we are capable. And we will continue to rise, no matter what challenges await." The trials of Narian had tested their limits, but they had demonstrated that humans could meet challenges that others could not. They had faced chaos, uncertainty, and overwhelming power, and had triumphed through courage, creativity, and unity. Somewhere beyond the stars, the cosmic entity and other forces of the galaxy would take notice. Humans had shown that they were not simply another species to observe. They were innovators, problem solvers, and survivors capable of shaping events that others could only watch. And as Elias gazed at the horizon, he felt a certainty that resonated deep within him. Humanity's greatest adventure was only beginning, and the universe would never underestimate them again.